welcome everyone, and we will make sure to respect your time today. So let's just start. My name is Kaja Figlarska, and I'm a sales support specialist at Kerkhoff Technologies, MSP, which is a managed service provider. And joining me today is Isabel Schmidt, our VCIO and AVP projects, and she works with our clients to create a vision for information technology that meets the organization's objectives. And then she works with our project team to implement that vision. And today we also have Joshua Smith, who is our Chief Operating Officer, and he's primarily focused on business side of Kerkhoff Technologies and mission impact. And at the end of our presentation, we will have a Q&A section, so feel free to leave us any questions in the chat section. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Kaya. All right, so we're going to start off today with a quick introduction or perhaps a reintroduction to what Copilot is. Because Copilot is a term that covers several different things. Copilot is an AI language model from Microsoft. It operates in the same space as tools like ChatGPT or Gemini, as some examples. And for the purposes of this demo, what we're going to really highlight is that there's several types of Copilots. We will be discussing all of them in some detail. And Joshua's going to go through and explain what these tools are and give some demos on how they work. So Copilot is an umbrella term that Microsoft has for all of their AI tools that are built into their online platforms. So Copilot is Bing Chat. Copilot has a pro version for home users. Copilot in Microsoft 365. For your office applications and your online data. There's Copilot for Dynamics, for business intelligence. Copilot is the umbrella term for all of these different products, similar to how when you say Microsoft Office, you're not talking about one application, you're talking about a suite of applications. Copilot's the same thing. So Copilot in Bing Chat is free for everybody. You can access that by going to bing.com/chat or from opening up the Copilot button in your Microsoft Edge browser or in Windows 11. There is a pro version of that. It's a little bit of a misnomer. It's not actually designed for professionals. It is for individuals, single people. It's not tied to any organizational data. It just gives you some advancements over the free version of Copilot that is available to everybody. What we're going to be focusing on today is Copilot for Microsoft 365. It is $488 per year, billed annually, and it requires an additional Microsoft 365 license for your Office suite. You have to be a Microsoft customer already to add on Copilot. So that's going to be your business premium or your enterprise licensing, like your E3 or E5. So the version of Copilot that you already have that we're going to start with is the Copilot chat. This allows you to ask queries of your web data as well as your internal data, or both at the same time. It can be accessed through your web browser or through the Copilot button that we talked about in Edge or in Windows 11. So this is a powerful AI that uses the same GPT engine from OpenAI, which Microsoft has invested heavily into to the tune of billions. It has a number of advantages, though, over the standalone GPT product. Primarily, it knows your company data, and it can use your company data in answering queries. So, for example, as Joshua will demonstrate shortly, you can ask it to summarize an AI policy that KTI recently implemented. It's able to look through your data that is in your organization. So much like GPT, you can just simply have a conversation with it, but it has additional models in addition to the GPT model, and it's been trained on your organization's data. So it should give you more relevant answers for your organization. It also has access to the DALL-E engine for image generation. It's all bundled together in one AI chat. I'm going to hand it over to Joshua to give us an example of Copilot search.
Thank you, Isabel. So yeah, as Isabel mentioned, we're going to start with looking at the Copilot search. So I'm in my Edge browser here. You can see that I'm signed in with my Microsoft 365 account, got my picture in the corner and the Kerkhoff Technologies logo as well. And up in the top right corner is the Copilot button. So I'm going to click that. And then just to make it easier for everybody to view, I am going to expand this out. But you could have this alongside a web page while you were working and doing other things. So we're going to start off here with the selector set to work. So this means it's only searching from your internal information, like Isabel mentioned. So that's your SharePoint files, your Office 365 email, your calendar, things like that. There is a plugin down here for web content as well, which I'll cover later. But for now, I'm just going to turn that off. And so right now, we're only looking at our work data. So I'm going to do a search here. And it's give me a bullet point summary for the AI policy. So we recently created a policy on the ethical use of AI within our company. As an aside, that's probably a good thing for all businesses to be thinking about. Whether, when your staff are using AI tools, is it being trained on their data? Could it be leaked? Things like that. So we just put a policy in place internally for that. And so you can see now it's gone through and it's found the file. See, I didn't actually specify what file I was looking for. I just gave it the summary, but it did in fact find the file. And you can see here, it's given us a bullet point summary of the key points. This is about a 2-page Word document. So it's just summed it up. And it's also looked at the document and its history and said that it was reviewed and approved by myself, Joshua Smith, and Diana Tracy, Operations Administrator, and also contributions from Plaquila, who is our head of HR. So in one quick overview here, I can very quickly see what it is that document was created, who it was created by, and things like that. And if I wanted to edit it, I can click on any of these links or the references and just go straight to the policy here and start editing it. So that allows us to pull data from, as I said, our SharePoint and things like that. I'm now going to change over to the web tab. And so this is now only searching the internet. It is not looking at our internal data. And for this prompt, I'm going to ask it to suggest locations for a work retreat for the senior management team of our company. And I've specified who are based in Chilliwack just to give it that, that constraint so it knows what information I'm looking for. And the prompt is important. The clearer the prompt, the better the data you'll get. Okay. So it's now gone out to the web and it's looked around and found local places that do this sort of thing. You can see it's given us an overview and it's framed this search in terms of what we're looking for. So it has a master bedroom suitable for CEOs or COOs. So immediately I like that because I'm the COO. And it's given us a couple of options here that we can look at as well as links as well. So let's say that having based on this, I'd done a bit of additional research, clicked through to their website, and I decided, yep, Cozy Cabins, that's where I want to have our planning meeting. So now I'm going to go back to work. And I'm going to turn this browser here on to allow web content as well. There are also plugins, other plugins available. That's outside the scope of this webinar, but feel free to reach out and ask if there's other places your data lives. It can probably be connected. So what I'm going to say now is, based on last year's offsite planning agenda, create an agenda for the 2024 offsite to be held over 2 days at Cozy Cabins Wellness Retreat. And so now it's looking both at our internal files and also at the web, if there was any additional context that it needed about Cozy Cabins. So this is now going to comb through our documents, and we'll just give it a minute to run through because it's crunching quite a lot of data here. It does tell you as it's going through what it's looking at. Okay, and now it's generated a agenda. And you can see here that it's pulled in things from our previous offsites, suggested that we do an icebreaker activity. That's something that it's come up with on its own, probably from looking at guidance on good offsites and things like that from the web. It suggested some sessions that we could hold, talking about having some break, have an informal network, and then it summarized the location. So that's a great start there for us to be able to see what it is that we might want to do. And then the other thing we'll look at in this section, just like Isabel mentioned, is the image creation. So I'm going to go back to the web tab. And in this case, I'm just going to ask it to create an image of a man in a pilot's uniform with the Microsoft logo on his cap and suit. I would note here that it does sometimes struggle with writing with text. It is best right now to generate these images without text, but let's see what it comes up with. Okay, so it's created 4 images for us. These are brand new images. They haven't come from anywhere else. It's been different every time I've done this in testing. So if we click on this link, you can see there, if I needed a heading or a photo for a Copilot webinar like this one, there's an image that I could use that it's just generated for me in a very quick period of time. So with that, I will hand it back over to Isabel.
Oh, thank you, Joshua. That's fun. All right. So in addition to the chat tools, there's Copilot tools that are built into the Microsoft Office suite, as well as other Office applications that are less than the traditional Word and Excel. And we're going to show some of those as well. In this case, again, Copilot is not a single product, but it is rather an extension of your existing tools. The product is purchased separately, as we mentioned, on an annual basis. So if you have purchased the product, you're going to end up with a Copilot button inside of the standard tools you use every day, such as Word, Excel, Microsoft Teams, and SharePoint. Copilot can assist when creating documents, analyzing data, creating presentations, generating drafts, suggesting visuals, and generating speaker notes, etc. Copilot is designed to increase productivity and help businesses unlock the value of their Microsoft 365 licenses. So Joshua now is going to take us a little bit through what is Copilot inside of the Microsoft traditional applications.
Thank you, Isabel. So we're going to start here in Microsoft Word. So this is a new blank Word document. In this case, I'm going to do Alt-I and get the Draft with Copilot tab up. There is also the button up here, but this does it in line, which is really nice. You can see that you can reference a file here if you wanted to use something else as a reference. But for now, I'm just going to ask it to create a policy. Create a policy about our expectations for use of company computers. Okay, so we'll let that run. The real powerful part of this, in my mind, is it allows you to start from something and edit it. So sitting in front of a blank Word document, trying to start a document, start writing something can be really challenging. I personally find that if I've got something, it's really easy for me to look at this and go, okay, no, I don't like that. No, I'm going to change that. No, I need to add that. And it becomes a much quicker process than starting with a blank sheet and trying to go from there. So you can see here it's gone through and it's created a policy for me. This is not based on anything existing. It has written this based on best practices and things that it's found around the world. And when it finishes, we'll just have a quick look and see what it came up with. You can scroll as it's going. You can see it's writing things out here for us. Okay, so it's finished here. You can see that not only has it created the text, it's created headings, bullet points, it's done all the layout for us. I'm happy with this, so I'm going to click keep it. And now I have a normal Word document that I could edit, share, print, deal with in any way that I wanted to. And I would say for something like this, for a policy creation, this is probably 90% of the way there for what I would need to actually take a policy like this and implement it. Yeah, so that's the use of it in Word. I'm now going to go over to Excel, and I have some demo data here. So for Excel, obviously you do need to be working with existing data, which is why I've got this demonstration file. And it does need to be in a table format. That's one thing to keep in mind. So this is a table showing some demo data of sales for a computer hardware store. So I've clicked the Copilot button over here. I'm going to come in here and ask the query. And I'm going to ask it to add a column that calculates the profit, which is retail price minus cost price times the number of units sold. And you can see there the big power in Excel is that I've been able to do this in natural language. I haven't had to use an Excel formula. I haven't had to look up and understand how to create things like that. I've told it what I want, and it's worked out how to do it. And if I hit insert column, I now have the profit column added, and that's good to go. And it also does give me some suggestions here as well, so data insights and things like that, if I wanted any help. But the next question I'm going to ask it is, okay, that's great. I've got a table. Let's visualize that data. So let's create a chart showing the top selling items. And so now it's again looking at the data. I said top selling. It's interpreted that as number of units sold, so it understands that I didn't have to give it the exact column name. It knows what I meant by that. So it'll go through, figure out the data. And now it's created a chart that looks about right to me. So I'm going to read its little summary because it does give me an overview. It's even said, hey, by the way, since you asked for a chart, the top selling products are smartphones, keyboards, and Ethernet cables. And now I can add this to a new sheet. So it's created a new sheet. It's put the data on the side there. And I've now got a chart that I could edit, copy into a presentation, anything else that I might want to do. Okay, and then finally, I'm just going to move over to PowerPoint. And again, I'm going to click the Copilot button. And I'm going to give it my prompt. And so I'm asking it to create a presentation here about hybrid meeting best practices. And I think PowerPoint is a really good one to demonstrate the power of this. For anyone who's created PowerPoints before, you know that it can be sometimes a bit finicky to get all your information in there, find stock images that you can use, align them, things like that. So PowerPoint, really powerful tool, but one that can take some getting used to. So in this case, I've told it what I want, and it's created this. And I will scroll through a few slides. So I didn't give it images, I didn't give it text, but it's gone through and created an overview, planning guide. It's created images or pulled in stock images from elsewhere. It's given me a full presentation that I could use. So yeah, really powerful. You can imagine how long that would take to generate manually. If I had to sit down and create this presentation, that's a couple of hours of work. Whereas now I probably could take half an hour, polish this to what I need, and it would be ready to go. We don't have time to cover it in this presentation, but I could now take this file, ask Copilot to draft me a meeting agenda, draft me an email to send out to the team, and it would do all of that based on this information. I could also just go into Designer and change how I wanted it to look. And then one final thing that I'll cover briefly as well is we have, within Copilot, it has the ability to transcribe and understand your meetings. So as an example here is a meeting for our sales team that we had last week discussing this very webinar and some of the things we were working on. And so I've told it here to recap the meeting, and it's given me a summary of the points with the ability to click straight to when those were. I could also ask it to list out action items, or I could say, hey, we had a 2-hour meeting and I can't remember exactly where we talked about what our new vacation policy was. And I could actually go in there and ask it that, and it would find me that clip. So very powerful and built directly into Teams for getting that data, getting follow-up items and things. So really powerful tool there. So that's kind of a demo, a quick overview of the Copilot functionality and the various Office tools. With that, I'll hand it back over to Isabel for a bit of a wrap up.
Thanks, Joshua. That's fun. All right, so next steps. So one of the things that we've noted here over and over again is that this is connecting to your company data. It is learning on your company's information. So it's really important before turning on Copilot or something that do reach out, have an initial consultation with us where we can talk about the security and importance of getting your data governance sorted before you turn on Copilot. There's nothing worse than identifying through an AI learning model that you've got some mismanagement going on in your company data, and maybe people wind up with access to things that they shouldn't. So security and a proper deployment by professionals is highly recommended. Don't hesitate, reach out and book that free, no obligation review with myself, where I can take you through your workflows in your environment and identify how best to implement technology for your organization. Why work with Kerkhoff Technologies? Well, don't just take our word for it. Our customers love us. As you can see, pretty powerful statement here from Jasmeet about how Kerkhoff Technologies has implemented technologies to assist them with their efficiencies inside of their organization. Questions and answers. Do we have any questions?
Yes, we actually have a question from David. He's asking about the search, and he's asking if the search is not using Google and it's using Bing only, correct? And then he says, with that said, an older stat, summer 2023, had Bing searches at roughly 10.5%. And do you have any updates on stats, as Copilot and Bing must be a much larger number by now? And then he pasted a quote.
So first off, to answer the question, yes, when Bing does a search and you include web results, it is using Bing as the search engine that GPT or all GPT is using. So that's not just a Copilot thing. If you enable a web search even in other products like ChatGPT, it is using Bing as the search engine. Of course, Gemini is the Google product. It would use Google search. I don't have updated stats on where Bing is at right now, but I do know, yes, it has been climbing, and we could potentially include that information when we do the email wrap up.
Yeah, that sounds good. Thank you so much. And then we have a question from Nap, and Nap says, what is the accuracy of Copilot when doing summaries within email chains?
I can take this one if you like.
Summaries and if you want to go ahead.
Yeah, I would say it's pretty accurate in terms of the content. So it's not going to lead you wrong on terms of what people said or what the gist of it was. It's very good at understanding that. The main thing that it does sometimes struggle. So for myself, I'm from New Zealand. I have a bit of an accent, if you hadn't noticed. It does sometimes mistranscribe words of mine, names, things like that. But in my testing so far, and I've had Copilot running for a few months, it's been very effective at summarizing email chains. And it's one of those things where when I started using it, I would just go through and double check. I would say if it does get something wrong, it's normally so obvious that it's very easy to find. So I feel pretty confident trusting it with giving me those summaries. And then if it'll also give you references, that's the other thing. So if it says something you're not sure about, you can click it and it'll take you straight to that portion of the email and you can review it for yourself.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, and that's a really important point.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, it's a really important point. As you noted, when Joshua was going through, he gave that demonstration of how he asked it to summarize a policy. It actually gives reference numbers all throughout of its responses. So if you ask it to summarize an email chain, it'll go through and it'll have like reference numbers in there that you can click on that will take you to that portion of the email chain, or the document, or the word, or the search, anything like that. Copilot is very heavily backed up by its resources. So you can go and identify the accuracy of what it is that it's asked for.
Thank you so much. And then I guess we will go with the last question, 2 questions from Jasmine. Is it possible to deploy it on your own private company server? And what about privacy? Does it record information for any third-party use?
Yeah, so you can't deploy it to your own company server. However, it is deployed to your own organization's environment. So it is your Microsoft Cloud environment, so your SharePoint, your Teams, your OneDrive, it's only your data. And it's really important to understand that it acts inside of the context of the person using it. The results that I get when I search for something will be different than the results that Joshua does, because he might have access to documents and files and folders in SharePoint that I don't. It has access to his email and I don't have access to his email. So it always executes inside of the security and privacy of the individual that is executing the search. Okay.
And we don't have any questions. We just have a statement from David that from a marketing standpoint, it sounds like a whole lot more focus should be likely start to be paid to Microsoft ads and Bing optimized SEO. So yeah, thank you so much for the statement.
I would agree. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes, it is Bing that it's using for sure. Very good. All right, so our next webinar is remote working in the modern workplace, enhancing productivity and security in a distributed environment. We're long past the work from home, work from anywhere world. It's here to stay. And we're going to talk about making sure you're getting the most out of your products and staying safe out there in the world. Thank you, everybody, for coming, and we will wrap it up there. If you have any questions or anything like that, or you want a more dedicated demo, as I mentioned, reach out for an initial consultation. If you have any questions about other IT services we offer, feel free to let us know. You can reach out to us by phone, by email. You can book a discovery call directly on our website. Follow our webpage on LinkedIn, and don't hesitate, reach out and connect with me directly. Thank you, everybody. Have a great afternoon.
Thank you all very much.
Thank you.